So this right here, this is just it's gonna be a short life or a short little snippet thing. Uh, I just want to cover something really quick that happened at the DOGE committee. I think it was today or yesterday. I think it was today. In regards to Jasmine Crockett and the Doge committee, which is supposed to be talking about waste, fraud, blah blah blah, DOGE stuff like that. But it turned into anti-trans really quick. It went to zero to 100 for absolutely no reason. It was the ultimate of deflections. So I move this out of my way. It's in my way right now. So I want to play this clip, and then I'm gonna get my thoughts after. It's a short clip, just 5 minutes. 5.
It is so interesting that I just learned today at 44 years old that the Republicans are going to be the ones to save women. The same Republicans that have been saved for women's reproductive acts, or the same Republicans that have stood for the Equal Rights Act, which would hopefully get women to equal pay, or the same Republicans that just this Congress voted for the SAVE Act, which we know would disenfranchise women from even being able to vote. But let me tell you, they are our saviors. And so I am so happy to be here today, because otherwise I would not have an idea that I had a savior in the Republicans. So let's also talk about the fact that it's only been 100 days, 100 long, terrible days for anybody that absolutely believes in reality. Because what we know is that they have terminated staff responsible for enforcing federal protections against sex-based discrimination. Sounds like that's pro-women. Or they cut funding for domestic violence survivor services. Sounds pro-woman to me. Or they've prohibited funding for research affecting women's health. That definitely sounds pro-women to me. Essentially, they closed the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. Again, sounds like they are fighting for us. And instead of providing oversight over these actions, congressional Republicans have been working to execute one of the most aggressive anti-women legislative agendas in history. And yet, they're here today trying to convince the American people that discriminating against trans people is somehow the only way to protect women. This hearing has nothing to do with improving government efficiency. It's another attempt by Republicans to distract from their demonic and disastrous policies that are making it more difficult for Americans to make ends meet. So, Ms. Goss Graves, I want to play a game. It's called Trump or Trans. You ready?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. You understand?
Got it.
Okay, very good. The first one, gutted medical research.
Trump.
Kidnapping Americans and sending them to foreign countries, a.k.a. deporting them.
Trump.
Driving us into a recession.
Trump.
Increasing the cost of everything.
Trump.
Waging an idiotic tariff war.
Trump.
Harming farmers.
Trump.
Ignoring the Constitution.
Trump.
Proposing to take away Social Security.
Trump.
Cutting health care.
Trump.
Firing government workers who keep our country safe.
Trump.
Encouraging an environment of hate and divisiveness.
Trump.
Thank you so much. This committee could be engaged in actual oversight of fraud, waste, abuse, and mismanagement. So let's talk about waste. Like Trump's plan to spend almost $100 million for his little birthday parade. Or how he spent 25% of his first 100 days golfing, costing taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. In fact, it's a little bit over 30 million at our last estimation. In fact, President Trump is on pace to spend more than $1 billion of taxpayer dollars just on golfing. Yet the Republicans have been silent. So they must think spending taxpayer dollars on the president's golfing trips is more important than providing health care to their constituents. And when I talk about constituents, we're going to talk about the ones on this committee. So if we look at Texas 26, 39,000 children look to potentially lose their Medicaid with the cuts that they are about to vote on for reconciliation. 88,000 in Georgia 3, 68,000 in Missouri 7, 79,000 in Tennessee 2, 86,000 in South Carolina 4, 50,000 in Texas 04, 85,000 in Texas 27, and in Georgia 14, 111,000. And if you add that up just on this committee, we have 606,000 kids that are relying on us to do right by them. And instead, we playing these crazy games because we worried about 10 trans folk that are in sports right now in college. I wasn't elected to be engaged in these fights. I was elected to make sure that those kids, the kids that they are about to neglect with these terrible votes that they're about to take, I was elected to protect them and to make sure that they could grow up and have all the opportunities. But let's keep on track. Now, when we look at how much they are spending on, let's look at fraud. We could investigate whether the White House and the members of this subcommittee engaged in insider trading and market manipulation. Maybe it's a coincidence that the chairwoman brought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stock the day before Trump announced a 90-day pause on tariffs. But I guess we'll never know. So finally, let's talk about abuse. Like how the Republicans have let Elon steal data of Americans and his competitors to make himself even richer. Look, don't let these hearings distract you from their destruction. This is rage baiting instead of conducting oversight over the issues that Americans actually care about. And with that, I will yield.
So yeah, basically, I know that everybody got that, but basically the crux of that video was basically me pointing out that in that committee, it was supposed to be that committee, the Doge committee, is specifically supposed to be for covering the DOGE, waste, fraud, theft, etc., but it was hijacked. Instead of talking about that, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think it's Nancy Mace, I don't know her fucking middle name, decided to bring two women onto the panel, into the committee to talk about trans issues, to talk about trans women in sports. My issue with that, and the women that were brought over, was one, Sophia Turner was one of them. Sophia Turner, the young lady who decided to take a knee in the fencing competition because she found out that her opponent was a trans woman. And then I believe I can't remember her first name, but it was McNabb, another young lady who got injured playing volleyball because she took a spike to the face, and the person who did the spike happened to be a trans woman. So they were brought there not because they actually give a fuck, right? Not because MTG or Mace actually gives a fuck. They were up there to continuously spread transphobic propaganda. What Jasmine Crockett was getting to is this is a fucking distraction, and it is a fucking distraction, and it needs to be consistently called out. We need to start holding people to the fire a lot more. If they want to bring this up, I say that, okay, if you're going to go all in and you want to talk about these issues, let's talk about the issues, right? Let's talk about the context of every single issue. We could talk about that. We could talk about fencing and how, like the person, there was also the head of the committee of the fencing USA, I believe, was also trying to tell them, it's like, hey, fencing is probably one of the most safest things. We pride ourselves on safety. Sophia said that she doesn't feel protected by them. Sophia decided to take a knee against, I will not say this trans woman's name. She decided to take a knee against her opponent because he was a trans woman. Later on, she gets disqualified, rightfully so, because you're supposed to compete. The trans woman then goes on to place, I believe, 24th out of 29 competitors, which means that there were 23 other women that bested her in this match. So, there's no case or no instance, no statistic to say that this trans woman existing in that tournament was going to be a unfair advantage to women who are actually fencing in that tournament. McNabb, the other young lady who got a ball spike to her face. If you do research, that's a common thing that happens. It's one of the few injuries that you can get. I believe she had a concussion and also, probably fracture to her face. There are women, other instances, that's also had that same exact injury, concussions, fractures to the face by taking spike balls from other biological women. That's the sport of volleyball. You're going to get spikes. Spikes look like they hurt. I don't want to take a spike to the face. I don't think anybody wants to take a spike to the face. It just so happens that she took a spike to the face, and that's unfortunate. I think basically what I'm getting at is like these type of things, these type of conversations. If you want to have them, let's have them all the way. Let's not spare anybody. Let's not protect or coddle anybody. let's tell Sophia Turner that you taking a knee in that instance is disrespectful to what taking a knee in sports actually meant in 2016. Taking a knee was a fighting against the injustices, police brutality, and the unfairness of people of color, specifically black people, during that time. At that point in time, Colin Kaepernick got blackballed. Colin Kaepernick's NFL career was basically ruined by these other racist white owners in the NFL because they didn't like the fact that he decided to take a stand or a knee for something. So Sophia Turner taking a knee out of pure bigotry was to me disrespectful. I didn't like it. I hated it. I don't respect anybody for that. So McNabb taking a spike ball to the face, that's volleyball. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And she's not the only person to get injured that way. And those injuries happen when the perpetrator is biological women. So I'm confused on why this is such an issue. There is no statistical data to say that trans women it's an epidemic of trans women in women's sports taking over the joint. You can't give me five trans women who have taken over and dominated in the sports that they are in the women's sports. I don't care if it's hockey, basketball, baseball, soccer. You can't, boxing. You can't tell me one trans woman. Because it's not an epidemic and it doesn't exist. This is just a fucking way of distracting, like Crockett said. 10 trans women in college sports is not more important than making sure we're trying to figure out why the fuck USAID was cut. And now people are going to die because it no longer fucking exists. We can't talk about how the stupid fucks from the DOGE think that there are dead people getting fucking Social Security benefits. That committee is meant for fucking Doge, not trans issues. It is not an issue, respectfully. And I understand that women, I don't want to devalue women's your feelings on this, but it's not an issue. I'm sorry, it's not. There's no epidemic. There isn't any. There's no data to back up the fact that all trans women have to be banned. As a matter of fact, you want to talk about justify trans women or transgender individuals, period, getting booted out the fucking military. Tomorrow, they'll probably be kicked out of the military because a ban went through. The Supreme Court allowed it. So they can get kicked out the military tomorrow. And they have to wait months to see if it's going to be overturned, to see if it's going to be changed. That doesn't happen to cisgendered people. That doesn't happen to cisgendered white people. I'm sorry to bring race in it, but let's just be fucking honest. Let's call a spade a spade. I mean, that is what it is. I wanted to do this quick video because, like, it's just, for me, my only concern is that we're going to keep doing this over and over and over again. We're treating the trans community as if they're nothing but fairy tale creatures, as if they're mythical creatures, like they don't exist. We're dehumanizing and demeaning them. They can't do anything. We're demonizing an entire community because five trans women want to participate in sports because they identify as women. When half the time, you can't tell me what a woman is. You give me the basic definition of what a woman is, but you'll never tell me what a woman is. It's stupid shit like this that makes it really difficult to, not to support the country, but it makes it hella difficult to take you serious, take these issues serious. Show me some statistics. Tell me it's an epidemic. Tell me it's a fucking problem. Then maybe, okay, I'll be like, okay, we have to check this. But until then, this is just nothing but bigotry. Until then, I see that every single woman who brings this up gets platformed on these shows and Congress, and they're going to make money off of it. And that's unfortunate that you can make money off dehumanizing other individuals, other minorities. And if you think things like that, boosting shit like this is going to help your cause, it's only going to hurt you in the future. If you think that transgender individuals can get banned out the military because they're deemed a liability, even though they've been serving for X amount of time, not being labeled a liability, do you think they won't come after women next? In this America, Remember when Donald Trump blamed DEI for the crash at Reagan Airport? It's the first thing he did, DEI. What does that mean? Here's what I got out of that. I got out of it is like, okay, well, if none of that would have happened if the people in control were cis, heterosexual, able-bodied white men. I'm sorry to bring it up that way, but that's just what it is. That's what it sounded like. That's what it was giving. So basically, this video was just basically me just fucking concerned about the way the country. I mean, we're already fucked as a country, but I see a trend, and nobody's picking up on it, and hopefully you guys do too. But it's not going to end well. It's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. This isn't going to be a country. You're just not going to be a country that Donald Trump promised. This is his country, and people who are a minority, that includes white women as well, because you are technically a minority. You also would benefit off of DEI. You're going to be on the chopping block eventually. So I just feel like we all need to wake up, smell the fucking fish fry. I don't know. Smell whatever the fuck you want to smell, but wake the fuck up.